What's going on today, guys? Just figured I'd upload the full video of the push day from the other day. It was kind of the peak of the push day was the 255 5x5. It was actually going to be a 5x5, but I only got 4 reps on the last set. I might have been able to squeak out a 5th, but I just wasn't quite feeling it. To be honest, these last couple of workouts, I've just been really not had a lot of motivation to go in, and it's really just been having to kick back onto the discipline and just get it done. You know, I don't know why, I've had really poor sleep a couple of weeks back, or maybe it's been about a week and a half now, not quite a couple of weeks, but I had a family member that spent some time in the hospital, so it's just been a lot of life stress. I'm really trying to get off of night shift and get onto a day shift schedule at work. So a bunch of stuff's just really impacted my sleep. Like before this workout, I probably had 3.5 hours sleep. The next night was like 4, maybe 4.5. And then when I went in for my deadlift, which I've got the short video up of the 545 2x2, I had another night of about 4 hours of sleep. And it's just like, trying to run on no gas, you know, and it's like, and not only that, I'm trying to stick with a caloric deficit. Now, I did overeat on the holiday, but I mean, of course, who didn't, you know? So, but at the end of the day, we go in, we get it done, we move on. But yeah, I noticed there was a little bit of a strength drop off, you know, and when I'm honest with myself and and I can actually take a step back and think about the reasons for that, it makes sense. But in the moment and, you know, shortly thereafter, it's kind of hard to face the facts that you just weren't as good as you'd hoped to be that day. But like I said, when I step back and take an objective look at it, I do realize that just going in and doing what I was able to do was more than enough and more than adequate. And, you know, I am objectively getting better, so that's the important part. I just know that my potential is so much better, and when I'm, you know, have a good amount of sleep, properly hydrated, properly fueled up, I can go in and do better than I was today. So, you know, I got to try to address those things and work on getting, especially the sleep part. I got to work on getting that figured out pretty soon. And even just with regards to this workout, you know, it got up to about 225, and I knew right then. And you know what? It was even lower than that. I think it was the 185 jump still in my warm-ups where I was like, this is not feeling good today, you know. And that's right when I knew that sleep was going to play a huge component, you know, because you go in there and you hope, like maybe you think about the stuff that's going on outside of work and you think, well, maybe it'll be all right. But, you know, in the back of your mind, you probably know that it's not. And then as soon as that weight hits your hands, it completely verifies what you know to be true, which is that, no, it will not be all right. And it's going to be not as good as it should have been, you know. But yeah, that I believe was my 4th set, and I kind of gave the camera a really close symbol, you know, to that's how close it was to missing that 5th rep rather. So I believe this will be the 5th set where I actually do decide to bail and not attempt the 5th. Maybe I could have gotten it, but probably not. I just didn't feel like it was there, you know. But again, yeah, you know, I do attribute quite a bit of that to the strength drop off to that lack of sleep, you know, and it really has been going on for longer than just 3 days. It's been going on for quite some time. I do suffer with insomnia kind of throughout my life, just here and there, you know, as in it'll creep up for a couple of months and then go away for a few months and then creep up again and then go away, you know. So either I'm in that phase or it's, you know, just life stresses and just, you know, typical BS that's got my sleep a little bit affected, you know. But either way, want to definitely get that looked at and taken care of so that that's not an issue. After the 255 5x5, I went into these 185 3x10, just trying to get some volume in. These were a bit more of a close grip, just trying to work on that tricep strength at lockout and help with building that up a little bit. Even as I was hitting these, though, you know, I can normally hit these pretty easily at 185, and I was even struggling to get 10, you know, and it was after the heavy 5x5 and etc. But I just could feel, just from start to finish, I just was pretty run down overall and just hadn't gotten enough sleep, you know. At the end of the day, that is really what it's all about, you know. Is I have not been sleeping well enough to be messing around and pulling the numbers that I should be. So yeah, that'll be something I'm gonna work on here pretty quick. And having said that, I had planned probably within, you know, a week or two to begin my next strength block, and that could still happen, but I do feel like that sleep needs to get on track first. So I may just continue to just run this a bit longer, you know, probably maybe through Christmas, or we'll see. We'll just see where it winds up, you know. Like I talked about before, we'll just see when I get bored and need to go back over into a strength block. But yeah, until then, you know, I do just want to make sure that I'm getting all the factors dialed in that can be to optimize that when I do actually go to a dedicated strength program. But it's just kind of something I thought about when I was working out, was what, I usually have to try to figure out something I want to talk about on these things. And what I was thinking about is just the act of doing difficult things, doing things that we don't want to do, and how crucial that kind of is to working out. And it's got this weird juxtaposition with people that work out, because we're already doing something that's difficult. So it has that conquered right there. But then also there are these times like today, when I was in here doing this day and these last couple of workouts for me, when I'm not doing it because I'm enjoying it, I'm doing it because it needs to get done. Now, that being said, afterwards, I will enjoy the fact that it is done, and I'll be very appreciative and proud of myself for going in and handling it. But it's those moments of discipline when we have to get something done that we don't want to do, and that everything in your body is telling you, I don't want to go take care of that, whether it be because you're lazy, or it's a difficult thing, or maybe you're not in the mood, or whatever the 10,000 procrastination tactics we use to get away from doing things that we don't like doing. Like for myself in life, I have noticed, or I've developed it in myself and really worked at it consciously to do things that I don't like doing. And the theory behind that, and what I've found for myself, is that when I force myself to do things that I don't like doing, it makes the more mundane and less difficult things that I still don't like doing, but not on the same level, it makes those a lot easier for me to do. For instance, I exclusively take cold showers. As cold as the water will go, that's what my shower is. And I'm up here in Oregon. The cold water is cold, especially this time of year. It's not something that is greatly enjoyable to go do, but it is mentally what I do to give myself something that is achievable and allows me to conquer something. And, after that, it makes it where that's a difficult thing, to just jump into an ice cold shower when you just came out of a warm house, or something like that. It's not a pleasant thing. You actually have to force yourself to do it, especially for a while, and it makes it where slightly more difficult things are comparatively not as bad. Like, say I have a load of laundry that needs to get done, or I have to go to do a grocery shopping trip, or I got to take a look at the wife's car or something like that. Well, those become much less significant when you've given yourself all these small little battles. Like at my job, I work at a place with 14 floors, big hospital, work night shift. I will elect to just take the elevator between floors. If I have to go up 3 or 4 floors. Now, if I'm going all the way from the top to the bottom, no, or from the bottom to the top rather, I'm probably not going to just run 14 flights of stairs, especially if I'm in a hurry, or I just want to enjoy my break or something. But just to jump a couple of floors, I'll just always take the stairs, and you see a lot of people I work with just jump on the elevator just to go up 1 floor, and there's a flight of stairs right next to it. It's just those little battles that you can win that help you to what's the right word for this, that help you to kind of overcome the other less significant battles that are really important. Many of the battles that we face in just day-to-day life are just these small, little, insignificant things that can, easily erupt into a fight with your significant other, or you can just become a procrastinator and fall into a really lazy, kind of life pattern, or just get really negative about things that, aren't really that big of a deal. Like, okay, say you have to go out and hang up the Christmas lights. Well, it's not really that big of a deal if you just, got your butt up, got into the gym after 3 hours sleep, and just broke your back in there, trying to stay disciplined. Suddenly it's like, well, the Christmas lights really aren't as significant as what I just did. So I guess it's kind of like when you seek out and go do things that are uncomfortable just to challenge yourself, and just because it makes other things in your life that are uncomfortable and difficult that have to get done, it makes them less difficult and less uncomfortable. At least for myself, that's what I found to be true, is when I go out of my way to take a harder course at something, or to force myself to push through, have the discipline to push through something that I could easily abandon and I'm not being forced to do, it will make those other things a lot easier to tackle and a lot easier to get handled. For people, and, for myself, we always seem to kind of want to take the easy way out of things, and it's fighting against that and giving ourselves challenges, because in today's society and the way things are now, life has made it easier and easier for us. Technology and the progression of technology and resources has just made things so easy that, people are allowed to just become so complacent, which many years ago that probably wouldn't have been the case. People were much more hardworking and much more driven. And it's good if you can kind of even artificially put some of that on yourself and put some of those challenges and achievable goals in your way. And it's a sense of accomplishment, A, and B, it makes things that are actually stressful and need to get done in life much more achievable and much less intimidating and difficult. And we all know how powerful kind of the power of suggestion is. And if you can kind of harness the power of suggestion in your own mind. And so it's like, if I conquer all of these little goals, you know, that I've set for myself that I don't even need to do, but if every day and every week in and week out, I conquer them, it makes me be able to go, you know, when I don't want to go to the gym one day, or I have something that needs to get done, I need to go fix a car, or I got to get up and go to work and I haven't slept well or something like that. It makes me say to myself, I'm a person that gets things done. I am somebody that has discipline and does achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. And that self-assurance and confidence in yourself to just push through and know that you're a person that will just push through and accomplish something that needs to get done is absolutely invaluable, you know. And any way that you can cultivate that and further that mindset is such a huge asset and something that definitely will benefit you throughout your life. But yeah, just like here, not sure if you guys have been watching the video or just enjoy listening to my voice, but a lot of these last exercises I've just been supersetting, you know, and it's kind of half a selfish, I just want to get the hell out of here because I don't feel it today, and part of it also is, like I always talk about, just kind of building that work capacity, getting that gas tank a little bit better, you know, especially being bigger. It's nice to know that you could go when you need to, you know, and it's again, it's that mental thing. It's I will push through this. I do not need to be 1,000% fully recovered in between sets and my breathing come all the way back down and, you know, everything else. It's like, no, you know what, I'm going to take 20, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it is, and just go. And it's the mind that is in control of that, you know. And we listen to the internet and we listen to all kinds of different opinions on the internet, and, you know, I definitely don't claim to have all the answers. All I know is what works for me, and for me, my mind is much more powerful than my body, if that makes sense. Your mind can push you to places that your body just will not go. Your body, every fiber of your being will be telling you to stop doing something, but if you have enough control over your mind, you will be able to push through, and you can do far more than you think you can. But part of that is, you know, telling yourself, I'm not going to let my body be weak and be the deciding factor on what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. You know, it's taking control of it and saying, you know, there is the capability here. And if there was $1 million on the line right now, would I be able to grab that weight and pick it up and move it 10 times? You know, and that's the difference maker right there, is putting something on the line, you will get it done. And there's always something on the line. It's your life. This is your goals, your ambition, your progress. It's all on the line every set, you know. Make your, like they say, next set, best set, right? Or last set, best set, you know. Same idea. It's just, if you can pour everything you've got into each one, you are miles ahead of the game. You know, and these mindsets and positivity that I try to kind of exercise in my own life are not something I've always had. You know, just like it says in my YouTube description, is like, you know, I'm in recovery for hard drugs, which I've been off of for about 15 years. You know, I'm in recovery from alcohol that I've been off for almost 5. At this point, I'm not even interested in smoking pot or cigarettes or any of it, you know, and I absolutely do not judge anybody who, you know, wants to go do anything in the world to their own body. You know, you can go do all the drugs in the world you want, but for me, I found what works for me. And, you know, it's not strictly the working out, it's the mind that you have to get control over. You know, you have to get control over your own thought patterns, because, you know, there's plenty of people that never have the chance to run into a gym and experience, you know, what that can do for their life. But, you know, they do have within themselves the ability to change their behaviors and make choices and, you know, decide that they want their life to go in a different direction. But yeah, guys, that's about all the deep stuff and the deep thinking I have for today. Time to go zone out and do a whole bunch of nothing somewhere. Be a slacker. I feel like I've earned it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, if you did that, that'd be way cool. Thanks so much. I finally got up over to 100 subscribers. That was pretty badass. Other than that, man, yeah, go out and train, get busy, stay positive, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.